Hello, welcome to this update for the severe weather. So I had to do this video very early today because this situation just got more intense. So let's see. We have this moderate risk now, spots of southern Oklahoma into north central Texas, more like northern Texas. There's this enhanced risk around it from Texas and Oklahoma even to the Arctic and the slight risk in Marshall. So severe thunderstorms expected parts southern plains later today and tonight, southern Oklahoma, northern Texas, widespread damaging winds, some hurricane force, a couple of tornadoes, scattered large hail, some baseball size. A severe weather outbreak is possible across southern plains today. A few tornadoes, destructive wind gusts of 100-mile-per-hour gusts, and giant hail up to 5 inches in diameter are possible. Review severe weather safety procedures, possibly dangerous weather today. Stay tuned to NOAA Weather Radio, weather.gov, radio media for watches and warnings. A watch means conditions are favorable for severe thunderstorms over the next several hours. If a severe thunderstorm warning is issued in your area, move into a place of safety at the interior room, lowest floor story building. So please stay safe in those areas, especially there in the moderate risk and around the enhanced risk because of those destructive wind gusts near like secure your lawns, your things that could fly away and stay in a safe place, safe part of the house, away from those wind gusts. So please be careful. There's here like the outlook itself. Let's see. So does show this light risk also on the east coast, and this marginal risk around it. There's this big marginal risk around everything, and the slight risk goes as far north as Illinois. So the tornado is still 5% in those areas. We might have an update, but it's still 5%. And around Texas and Oklahoma, most of Oklahoma into Texas, there's this 2% from Texas to Illinois. And also there's this sneaky 5% spots of Virginia into Maryland, and this 2% including Washington, Baltimore. So please be careful in those areas too. The wind threat is this big 45% across Texas and Oklahoma, including Fort Hill, Wichita Falls, and more spots there. There's the 30%, including Oklahoma City and Dallas in the 45% as well. And there's this hatched for like hurricane force winds possible. So please stay safe in those areas. There's the 15.5% in the other areas. Hail is 30% as well, and hatched for very large hail. Also, this section in southern Texas, very large, and also as far north as Missouri too. So please be careful in those areas, and also 15% in Virginia. So let's see, they do mention a severe weather outbreaks possible across the southern plains today. So please be careful. Let's see, and I saw some mentions of a derecho possible. It's not guaranteed yet, but if those storms really organize and become intense, a derecho is possible too. So please stay safe in those areas. So let's see, they talk about the tornado potential too. They do mention intense tornado could develop somewhere in eastern Texas Panhandle if a long-lived inflow dominant supercell manages to materialize and optimally ingest the extreme buoyancy while traversing the diffuse baroclinic boundary. However, confidence in this scenario is too low to introduce a higher tornado's probability at this time. So it's still kind of low, but that is possible. So please be careful. And at some point during the afternoon or early evening, supercell cold pool merges support event either intense MCS, perhaps from a bow echo. Multiple small but intense bowing segments should bow echo form. Widespread severe winds are likely. In either scenario, gust magnitude may potentially reach 100 miles per hour, hence maintenance of Category 4 moderate risk, and MCS should progress across the lower Mississippi Valley during the evening to overnight, lingering severe weather threat gradually subside with time. So please be careful in those areas, stay safe. And also, they mentioned giant hail up to 5 inches. That's very dangerous too. Please, please be careful in those areas. So here there's the her. Let's see the storms first. So it does show a few remnant storms across the mid south. This goes and then they start forming this afternoon in the Texas Panhandle, some form in Oklahoma and Kansas, and other ones in western Texas. So this goes, and then they start forming into this line. And the most intense wind gusts might be near like northernmost Texas, southern Oklahoma. And those cells, you see those whites there, very intense, maybe even like giant hail, like they mentioned. And the possibility of tornadoes too, especially those supercells materialize coming from western Texas. And then this goes shows this very intense line of storms later in the evening, and then passes through Dallas into eastern Texas and into the mid south. So please be careful, especially about this time in the late afternoon into the evening, those destructive wind gusts. So please be careful, and the herd does have some pretty high wind gusts as well. If you check like max wind gusts, it does show those whites there. The whites are like 70 mile per gust, 60, 65 to 70. Then it does show like some spots, those blacks. Those blacks is more than 80 mile per gust. And it's very hard to see here, but there's a tiny yellow there. So in between those blacks, there's a tiny yellow in northern Texas. That's like 105 mile per gust. The her might be exaggerating, but you never know. It's possible as well, because I saw some other people putting some other models there, and some were like very crazy. So you never know, but please be careful in those areas. Let me just show you better. There's this area here, like yellow there. That's like more than 100 mile per gust. And all this area, northern Texas, might see a higher than 70 mile per gust into close to 90 mile per gust. In some spots here, those storms start as well. So please stay safe in those areas. Secure your things and like do everything you can to like make sure you are safe from those winds and also the hail, the tornadoes. So please be careful those areas. There's the name as well, and it also has this intense line of storms. It's somewhat different from the her, but it does have those intense storms as well. There's the updraft list now, the her, so it does show more scattered across southern Oklahoma into northern Texas, and also starting the Texas Panhandle in Oklahoma there too, but especially in these areas of northern Texas into Oklahoma. So please stay safe there. Be careful. In other areas that might potentially have a severe storm or two into the southeast shows a finger or two until Tuesday. So this includes Monday as well. Shows in Virginia they have that 5% tornado threat. Also like a tiny finger or two into southern Canada or the northern Midwest. So stay safe in those areas. There's a significant tornado parameter just to see if there's something as well. So about starting this afternoon, shows a finger or two in western Texas, like early in the afternoon, but later the show like this is 17Z, still nothing too crazy, but shows later by 21Z slightly higher tornado parameters in a few spots of central northern Texas, and also southern Oklahoma, a few spots higher tornado parameters, thus showing Virginia's a little bit as well. So this goes later in the evening, still high in some spots of Texas, like specific spots of Texas there shows higher, like if those supercells materialize, it shows more into southern Oklahoma too, and slightly later in the evening by 2Z shows within that line. There's slightly higher tornado parameters in a few spots. So some dangerous tornadoes might try to form within that line as well. So please stay safe in those areas, especially as those supercells form and materialize before. So we do have this excessive rainfall until 12C, spots to the south, midwest, and east, and this marginal risk around it. But day one for Sunday shows slight risk in Texas, Oklahoma, and the Arctics, and this slight risk in the mid Atlantic as well. So be careful, some flash flooding. There's day two further into the northeast, a slight risk, and this marginal goes all the way to Colorado. Day three, a slight in Texas, again, New Mexico and Oklahoma, and this marginal from Colorado to Florida. There's a margin in the northeast as well for Tuesday. So day four, next Wednesday, another slight in Texas possibly, and three marginals. Day five, marginal further north, and also slight still in Texas and Oklahoma and Arkansas. So be careful in those areas. Please stay safe. Just today, day one shows close to 3 inches in northern Texas, even a little bit more in some spots. Virginia as well, so be careful, some flooding. Day 1 through 3 shows close to 5 inches next 3 days, a few spots, so stay safe, those storms. Day 1 through 7 still showing upwards of 7 inches in a few spots there, so please stay safe in those areas. Be careful, some flooding too, and yeah, stay safe. Does show this this heat risk still on the west and the south, some extreme in the south on the west, so still be careful of this heat, especially Monday in the northwest, and later might continue in the south and southwest. So stay safe. We won't dive too deep today into the other things like temperatures, wind, and everything because of the severe weather. But our video from yesterday does cover a lot of the future outlook. So be aware. Shows like the hazards days 3 through 7, the severe weather still, extreme heat, and also the heavy rain. Also some hazardous heat in Florida and the west. So be aware in those areas. So this is day one, the moderate risk. Let's see day two. There's still this slight risk from Louisiana to New York, and east to North Carolina too. There's this marginal risk all the way to Colorado. So they do have 2% tornado threat from Mississippi to North Carolina, and spots of West Virginia into Ohio, Pennsylvania, and New York as well. So be careful in those areas. Extreme northeastern Kentucky. There's wind 15 or 5% in all the areas there, so stay safe. Some damaging winds, and hail shows this area from Colorado to southwest in New York. So be careful, choose some hail. The scare damaging winds, a couple of tornadoes, and isolated severe hail possible across the southeast into the upper Ohio Valley Monday into Monday evening. So stay safe those areas too Monday. Tuesday still marginal, spots of Texas, New Mexico, Louisiana, to Mississippi, and marginal in Montana as well, and marginal on the East Coast. So 5% probabilistic. Isolated severe thunderstorms possible Tuesday evening along parts of the East Coast, Southeast, New Mexico to southern Louisiana, and along the lee of Montana Rockies. So be careful in those areas too for Tuesday. And day 4 for 8 still nothing. So be careful in those areas, especially today in those areas. Stay safe. There's like the fire threat still elevated because of those slightly higher gusts in the north. So be careful in those areas too. You can see this system here, some higher wind gusts. So stay safe. And also there's that one near Atlantic Canada there now as well, and spots of Western Canada slightly higher. So stay safe in those areas, and let's see. The latest her here, it's not too excited like the other one I showed you, but it does have a few storms in Texas to 78 mile per gust. Later, it does have some 71 to 77. not sure how precise this map is compared to the other one, but it does have some intense gusts as well, but not intense as what was showing a few runs ago. So stay safe in those areas. Please be careful. And here, like, shows for those heat advisories, extreme heat warnings, Central Washington, those areas might reach more than 100 Fahrenheit. In other areas, some extreme heat warnings, California to Nevada and Arizona. So be careful in those areas. The air quality very bad. The smoke there in the north, some wind advisories, red flag warnings, and heat advisories as well in Texas and Louisiana. So stay safe in those areas. Some high surf advisories Hawaii, and even small winter storm warning in Alaska. So be careful in those areas. And guess what that red area of the Mexico coast is? Just guess, and I will show you right now. So we now have Tropical Storm Barbara near the Mexico coast. There's this area at 80% chance of formation. It says 100 here, so I think they just updated it now. But this might form very soon as well. So there's Tropical Storm Barbara. It's expected to stay out to sea, but this does have some high surf warnings and gale warnings in the near Mexico. So be careful in those areas with the high surf and gale warnings. But for now, it might become a hurricane, so possibly a hurricane by Monday if it intensifies more and shows like some tropical storm force winds might reach the coast of western Mexico. So stay safe in those areas. Also in the oceans, some higher gusts and some hurricane force winds possible in the ocean there. So stay safe in those areas. Please be careful. And this area shows 80%, yeah, because it's confusing with the other area. Because before Barbara formed, this area showed 100%. So this area here now is still some 80%, this second area here. But there's this third area here now, shows all the way to 40% already next week. A tropical storm possible, tropical depression or something could form late next week into next weekend. So we are still watching this area, but nothing too crazy for now. But be aware, those areas and still some heavy rains possible in spots of Mexico, those thunderstorms, especially like into northernmost Mexico near Texas. So be careful in southern Mexico and Guatemala. The coast of Nicaragua still should see some very heavy rain, some possible flooding into Costa Rica as well, and Panama. So be careful in those areas and still shows a couple of shower storms through Cuba, spots of Dominican Republic into the Eastern Caribbean. And there's this weird thing showing up now near Trinidad and Tobago to 100 millimeters next 5 days. So this like the intertropical convergence zone looks very defined and linear in the Atlantic. So we are potentially watching this area for some heavier rain too. The GFS is just around some 81 millimeters Trinidad and Tobago. The icon barely 39. So yeah, but we'll keep watching. Be aware those areas